So would I personally accept my husband if he had a second wife, or would I be a second wife? Now, when I was much younger, like I'd say 19, I used to say, oh no, there's no way that I'm going to share and stuff like that. And I'm still like that. I'm very emotionally and physically demanding. However, I really had to think about a lot of things. And as you go older, sometimes you have health issues, not necessarily, but you can end up having health issues, spinal issues due to previous epidurals and things like this. And I will have it in my marriage contract. So if you have it in your marriage contract before, you have an agreement with your husband before, okay, that you don't want him to have a second wife. And if he's fine with that, then proceed with the nikah. If he's not fine with that, then it's up to you if you want to be flexible to his needs or you just want to opt out and not marry him, okay? So yes, although it's a sunnah and it's halal to have more than one wife, as long as the guy is just and he can treat them equally and everything, financially, and be there for them physically and all these things, and be mindful of their emotions as well, as to not mentally abuse them. Okay, if he can do that and be a just man, yes, it is allowed. Should he tell his wife? Now, a lot of the scholars say he doesn't have to, but I think that it's a very sensible thing for him to do, to avoid future problems, because he may be thinking that he's helping a new wife and, oh, I need to be there for her, not knowing that if he hides it from the first wife, what will potentially end up happening, unless she's in favor of polygamy, what will potentially happen is she could easily say, I'm going to leave you. And obviously, you should always have that as a last resort, if she does want to leave him, as a very last resort, if he's a good man generally. So my exception would be, yes, I'm going to have it in my marriage contract, and I've already spoken to my sheikh about it. And I'm going to have an agreement with whoever I marry in the future that no, I do not want him to have a second wife, right? However, my exception would be, if God forbid, this isn't something a lot of us don't think of. If God forbid, just say my health went downhill or something like that, or obviously I already have a daughter, right, from a previous marriage. If God forbid I, wasn't able to have children in the future or something like that, because I've never tried, obviously because I had a breakup. So if God forbid I wasn't able to have children, and if my husband, for example, was single and he had never married before, and he really wanted to have his, children, his own children, it's still really hard, but I as in, like, because you're like, no, I want to have children with him, but at the same time I love children, so that would be my exception. So that's the only reason I change my marriage contract and be flexible and be like, okay, you know what, if you really do want your own children, then yeah, I would allow that, as long as he's just with me and everything like that. I would still stick by him, and I would treat those children like my own, even if I was kept separate, because I would be their stepmom, right?